Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Inside Guns with your host, me, the Yankee Marshal. Today I want to start my video by saying F Joe Biden. Now I don't want to say F Joe Biden, I actually want to say the F word Joe Biden, but you're not allowed to say that in the opening parts of your video for some reason. Your video has to be a few minutes in or something before you can say that word. Weird YouTube rule, but it is what it is. But like I said, I want to say F Joe Biden and all the lies he tells. Now, first off, I'm going to say right off the bat, I understand that he might not be responsible for the lies he tells because he might not know he's lying. Because the man is old. He's senile. Now, I'm not saying he's got a disease like Alzheimer's or anything. I'm just saying at his age, it's normal for people to start losing it. And he has visibly started losing it physically and mentally. I can't imagine someone would support him to run again. He'll be an invalid. We'd have President Kamala Harris, actually, is what we would have, because he would be incapable of performing his duties. But that's a different video altogether. I wish both sides would just find better candidates. If there's any Democrats watching this video, and I know some Democrats watch this video, find a better candidate. And if there's any Republicans watching this video, find a good candidate to run against them. Stop trying to find the worst examples of partisan extremism instead of finding someone who can actually do the job. Find someone that can actually do the job, find good candidates. Let's have an election between two viable opponents. But that being said, that's a different subject. Also, I wanted to talk about the lies Joe Biden has been telling lately and why he can get away with it. I think partly it is because a lot of people just go, oh, Grandpa, he's a little bit off. But he tells a lot of lies. Lies from saying that his son enforced laws that didn't exist at the time when he was Attorney General. He's like, my son was the first one to enforce this red flag. Didn't exist when he was Attorney General. So he's rewriting history. He also says things that are incredibly stupid, like, putting a stock on a pistol makes it a gun. That I could chalk up to misspeaking, but still stupid. But then he says something that, is not misspeaking. There's no way you can misspeak this. He just said, you put a stock on a pistol and you can raise the caliber of the pistol. It can shoot a higher caliber bullet. That's such garbage. That is just mechanically inaccurate, factually inaccurate. It's a lie. Now, he could make an argument that, since you're putting it in a pistol or a short-barreled rifle instead of a pistol, it's more effective because it has a longer barrel, so you're getting more oomph out of the round. But that's not what he said. He was just babbling on incoherently about weird stuff about guns. And then he said things like, you can't sue gun industry. They're the only people you can't sue. That's a complete and total lie. You can sue the gun industry if they do something negligent. You just can't sue them if someone else misuses their product. That's what the law is meant to protect. Just like you can't sue GM if someone drives drunk and kills someone in a Chevy. Same thing. And he claimed that the gun industry is the only industry that has these protections. He knows that's a lie. Multiple industries in this country have heavy protections against lawsuits like that. The pharmaceutical industry has way more protection than the gun industry. You can't sue a pharmaceutical company if someone overdoses on their medication. And you shouldn't be able to. Unless, of course, they're pushing that medication on people who don't need it and purposely make it addictive while telling people it's not addictive, which they've done. And then you still can't sue them. But that was just a blatant lie that you can't sue the gun industry. You can sue them if they are negligent or they do something completely irresponsible. But you can't just sue them when someone misuses their product. Like I said, like you can't do with cars if someone misuses them or drugs. And they are not the only industry protected. Lots of industries get protection. So that's a lie. A complete and total lie right there. He even said the NRA can't be sued. I don't know where he got that from at all. I think that just popped into his head. I don't know, because you can definitely sue the NRA if they do anything that you can actually sue them for. If you have any standing and they harmed you, That's ridiculous. There are no legal protections for NRA, but he spews that stuff on stage all the time, saying like, "Oh, most mass shooters use, SBRs or pistol stocks," which is also not true. It's garbage. If you were going to commit a mass shooting, why would you worry about whether you put a stock on something you're not supposed to put a stock on? You wouldn't use a pistol brace, you'd just put a stock on it. So doesn't make sense whatsoever, none of the things he says. But why is he able to get away with it? Is it just because people think he's senile? No, it's not just because of that. It's because most people don't know. That's one of the signs that we are failing as a community and as a movement, those of us that support the Second Amendment. We've been failing for a very long time. Gun rights, the Second Amendment, has become one of the most politically polarizing topics in the country. And unfortunately, groups like the NRA, which are actually the ones that helped make that happen, love that because they want to keep people divided. So they keep fighting. There's never any progress. They continue to make money. So that is one of the reasons he can get away with it, because we have failed. We have polarized the Second Amendment. We have not been open to people coming into the Second Amendment community. Too many people are very much like, "Hey, I want everybody who loves guns to come on over here and join me, but not if you voted for this person, or not if you believe in this subject, or not if you believe in this, or you don't believe that, if you're not a Christian or whatever." When they do that, they're doing a disservice to the Second Amendment, and too many people stand by and let them do it. We have let the people with the loudest, most divisive voices be the voice of the Second Amendment for way too long. And we need to stop doing that. That's one of the things we're failing at. Another thing we fail at that keeps people from getting more into guns, not only do they feel like they're unwelcome here because some of the extreme ideologies we allow to be prevalent in the Second Amendment community, which I don't care what your ideology is. I'm not going to be opposed to, I might be opposed to your ideology, but I'm not going to be opposed to you being in the Second Amendment. We can be friends. It's like last night, some people said, "Oh, Matt, won't you put on your red hat?" He put on his Make America Great Again hat. People thought, "Oh, they're going to fight now. Why would I care? Why would I care who he's voting for?" He and I are people who know each other through the Second Amendment, and we're brought together by our belief in the Second Amendment. Other issues don't matter for that. Now, we can disagree on other things. I would disagree with him if he's voting for Biden or Trump. I'd be like, "Hey, vote third party." But that's a different story altogether too. Like I said, we're too exclusive in the gun community. We think you have to conform to these ideologies, and it has to be every one of them. I can't count how many times I've had people cheer me on, cheer me on, cheer me on. I'll say 10 things. They'll be singing my praises and ready to raise me up on their shoulders. And then I'll say one thing they mildly disagree with, and suddenly I'm the enemy. It's just ridiculous the way a lot of people in the gun community act and how the extreme is allowed to control the argument. And there's also another extreme that controls the argument that keeps people from getting more into guns. Not just because, like I said, they don't feel like they belong, but because a lot of people try to make it seem like guns are these mysterious, complicated machines. There's a lot of people out there whose livelihood depends on you thinking you've got to be trained for many, many hours before you should ever touch a gun, because they're so complicated and it's so risky and so dangerous. And they are not. They are very simple machines, and all it takes is common sense to use them properly. But, there's an industry that's really taken off on training everybody to be uber tacti-cool gods. Even though they don't really become that and they don't need to be that. But there's an industry based on it, so they keep promoting that ideal. That you have to take training. The vast majority of people I grew up around grew up with guns, no formal training, and they do just fine. I got into an argument with Rob Pincus one day, and he thought he could outshoot anybody that didn't have formal training. And I had to explain to him, "I hate to break it to you, Rob, if we dropped you in the woods, in the mountains, with half the hillbillies I knew growing up, and gave you both a gun, they'd have you skinned and hung from a tree in a couple of hours." This whole notion that I took a formal class, so I'm the baddest ass in the world, it's bullshit. That's another thing that keeps people away from the gun community. We try to pretend like guns are dangerous and guns are so scary and guns are so intricate that you have to have hours and hours of formal training before you should even think about touching one. That does the community a disservice. So we need to start standing up. The quiet people who watch videos but don't comment. The people who may have a different political leaning than most gun people or have different opinions on other topics. We have to learn to be adults and be okay with other people disagreeing with us on things. In fact, I think if we started being okay with people disagreeing with us, we might find out that we're both right on a lot of things. And really, we've been just being told we feel completely different by the government so that we would stay at odds with each other. When we really sit down and think about it, we're like, oh, actually, we're 80% in agreement. Not 100% opposed. So that's what I think is the problem right now, and that's why Biden gets away with these lies. It's because, one, it's an uneducated group of people he's speaking to that don't know, and we as a Second Amendment community haven't been inviting enough to them to get them in and have them know, have them learn. We've been too exclusive as a community. We are too extreme in the litmus test to be in the gun community. I'm not welcome in the online gun community, even though I am a no infringement guy, no compromise Second Amendment supporter who walks the walk and doesn't just talk the talk. I believe in the Constitution and how it's for everybody, even if I don't agree with them. I'm not welcome in the gun community. They actively try to get rid of me because of that. Because of like, oh, you supported the Second Amendment and First Amendment rights of people we don't like. So you don't belong here. That happens all the time. When I stand up and say, hey, that person has the right to speak, and you shouldn't be telling lies about them to try to get the government to violate their rights. Like when Mr. Guns and Gear and Guns and Gadgets were lying about a certain group of people that were protesting. And I was there and I told them, hey, you're wrong. And instead of just saying, oh, right, we're wrong. I guess someone's there and told us we're wrong. They doubled down on their lies because they got to be divisive. They got to be able to separate out people from the gun community they don't want in it. And that has to stop because all we're doing, like I said, is we are making it to where 40 years from now, gun rights might not exist because there's fewer and fewer people that care every day. There's fewer and fewer people that feel like that they belong in the organization of people that own guns or the community of people that own guns. They feel like they have the wrong politics or the wrong social ideals or they're the wrong skin color, the wrong religion, whatever. That has to stop. If we start being more inviting, like I said, we all need to be doormen to the gun community. We need to open that door and help anybody through that wants to come through, regardless of how we agree or disagree on things. We don't need gatekeepers. We don't need people standing out there keeping out the wrong people. That's killing the gun community. We need to start being more inclusive. The more calmer, more intelligent voices need to start standing up and opposing the extremists in our community. Because if we don't, things will never change. Politicians like Biden will be able to continue to lie. People will start believing them more and more. And we will shrink our community to where we mean nothing, where we have no power, and then that's when we'll really be in trouble. All right, everybody, before I go, I want to remind everyone, if you want to join the Save the 40s campaign, please do. There's a link at the end of this video where you can go over and become a member of Save the 40s simply by buying any Save the 40s merchandise. If you want to join me and over 100 other people now that are members in getting rid of that Euro trash 9mm round that's being forced down our throats. You know, that round that comes from those beret-wearing, latte-sipping, mustachioed surrender monkeys, and replace it with a real American round like the 40 Smith & Wesson as our standard round in this country. Go on over, like I said, there's a link in the upper corner, buy any Save the 40s merchandise, and you'll be on that scroll at the end. And once we have enough membership, we will strive to make a change in this country. We'll start demanding that 40 be the American round and get rid of that 9mm Euro trash piece of garbage. And with that being said, I am out of here. Thanks everybody for coming. I hope you enjoyed the show. Remember, always carry and stay safe until I see you again.